What is good, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with the overall market, what you should be watching for as time progresses. I'm also going to talk about some very important levels to be watching for the markets and what's going on with all these different charts. But before I break things down, all this information, before I talk about why tomorrow is going to be another super important day, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. This offer ends in just 12 hours. Check it out before they run out. Anyways, this breakdown is going on with the market. So when it comes to Tesla and the market, we're seeing some very interesting technical developments. Tesla came down quite a bit today. We saw this thing drop towards the mid 190s. However, I told everyone that if Tesla ended up breaking this critical support at the 200 EMA on the weekly time frame, if we ended up just breaking below it and just holding below it, there could have been a risk of more downside for Tesla. We could have seen Tesla start falling. And if we ended up getting a bounce at it, if we saw some buyers step in and defend, then Tesla could try to hold this level and try to make its way back up to 200 plus. And what happened today? Tesla came down, it dropped lower, it dropped and dropped, but then right when we hit this 200 EMA, we dropped a little bit below it, but then the buyers said, hey, we're going to be buying it. So they bought in, and they pushed Tesla right back up. So now the market's trying to turn and Tesla's trying to, rebound thanks to that. But the question is, will we end up getting a follow through move going into tomorrow? Is the Fed going to help the market continue to pump like this? If so, we could see Tesla make its way back up to about 206 or even higher than that. If not, then things could also change. So the Fed is going to be speaking tomorrow. We have Jerome Powell giving a speech. We have the FOMC meeting, and we have other pieces of data in the morning, such as the job openings report and the more PMI pieces of data for manufacturing. But nothing is going to be nearly as significant as the FOMC meeting. Now, whatever the Fed does is going to cause a big move, and now we're going to be trying to determine how this is going to play out. So I just want to call out that when you look at SPY, this has been uptrending quite nicely now. So we did get that drop in the morning. The market came down for the first hour. We went from the 417s down to the 414s. The drop came, but then the buyers came in and we started to see this thing chop around a bit before we got a bullish break to the upside. So the market turned intraday. But one thing you're going to notice is two things you're going to notice are, number one, we have a potential inverse head and shoulders forming. And also, don't forget that we have this gap down here. There's a gap that's unfilled at this 410 area. So we're going to be watching to see, do we come down to fill that gap tomorrow? Maybe Powell says something the market doesn't like and then we bounce later. Or maybe we just leave the gap alone and we just keep going, right? It's got to be one of those two. It's looking like it might just try to keep going to, complete the inverse head and shoulders, try to make its way back up to 420 to 425 later. That's a real possibility, but we're going to have to just wait and see how it goes. I don't know what the Jerome Powell and the Fed are going to be announcing, so we'll just have to wait and see. But if anything, it's starting to look like the bottom might be in for the markets, and we should see some upside very soon. Now, regardless of what happens, whether we do come down to fill the gap or not, I believe that the market has been in a bottoming process. It's something I kept repeating on this channel. And I've been saying that there's going to likely be some upside for November. We're approaching November. The market's starting to bounce. I believe November is going to be a bullish month for the markets. And I think that this is going to have a good effect on even like Tesla. But in Tesla's case, we're also going to be witnessing what the news says about the stock. If Tesla wants to turn bearish again, we need a really bad piece of news to break that 200 EMA on the weekly chart. Tesla's been tanking for quite some time. It's finally time for Tesla to try to bounce. So we're starting to see buyers stepping in. And let's hope that we get some decent stuff from the Fed that helps the market continue going. So for Tesla, if we continue to pump, right, if SPY is going to pump too, Tesla has this imbalance towards 206, which we could be seeing. If we break that, I could see 210 to 212 coming. We're going to be watching this very carefully just to be safe. And we're going to be listening to what Jerome Powell has to say. He could pump the markets. If not, don't forget to be watching 198 as support. If we lose it, we could get very close to 195. But for now, we're looking quite nice, and we're seeing the buyers continuing to dictate this flow. For Nvda, I was calling a little drop on Nvda towards either 400, maybe a little bit lower. We could come down to like 400 and bounce, is what I said. Instead, we came a little bit lower, and then we bounced right back up, just as we had predicted. So Very nice to witness Nvidia drop and bounce. Nvidia is starting to show some life. If Powell pumps the markets, we could see 410 tomorrow or even above that. But we'll just have to wait and see what Powell causes. So far, it's not looking too bad. Apple broke below its channel, and this was very important. It broke below it, but now it's trying to get a back test of this previous support becoming resistance. And it's trying to break back into the channels. We're going to be watching this very carefully to see if we could try to get some kind of break or not. If we manage to break above 171, that's going to be a decent sign. We're going to be watching to see if we could get back into this channel and break resistance. If we fail to do so, Apple could start sinking back down. We're going to be watching 169.3, not to mention 168 as support. So those are some important supports to be watching for, and that's pretty much it for now for Apple. So we're going to be watching these levels. We have to do what's very important, and we just want to be as patient as possible. We will see if Apple's earnings helps this thing pump. If it does so, that's going to be even more bullish for the markets, or if Apple gets a rug pull as well. And also, we're not going to worry so much about earnings yet. We're just going to wait for the FOMC meeting. Maybe Powell and the Fed could help this pump back into this channel. If so, that could help the market pump more. For the QQQ, same thing is going on. This thing is trying to bounce. I don't know if we're going to come down to fill this gap and then bounce back down to 345 and bounce, or if we're just going to continue to hold above 350 and start pushing. It's got to be one of those two, but it's looking bullish. We're making higher highs and higher lows. Nice inverse head and shoulders. The odds do favor this thing beginning to push up towards 355, and then we have these imbalances closer to like 356s and etc. So there could be some major upside coming, but just to be safe, let's see what Powell says. So let's see what the Fed causes. The odds do favor the upside for now, nonetheless. All right. So let's see where Tesla closes. I don't really mind if it closes above 200 or not. That to me, it just doesn't matter as much because honestly, guys, at this point, it's all about the Fed. We'll see what the Fed causes. We're looking kind of bullish, approaching it as if someone knows something or maybe not. So we'll wait and see. And it's just going to be a game of patience between now and then. And when we approach these meetings, I'm going to talk more about this in my final video for the day, but approaching these meetings, what tends to happen is the market remains very sideways, very choppy. The hedging tends to happen the day before, and we tend to see just very boring price action. So there's a good chance we might just continue to remain boring, not really do anything that's too fun, nothing too significant. Going into tomorrow, we might just remain boring. I mean, today the market's pumping a bit, but tomorrow could just be like the boring day. And then we're going to be watching to see some high volatility if the Fed ends up pausing, if the Fed announces their changes. All right, so that's it for now. Thank you all so much for listening. Have an absolutely incredible day. Enjoy the weekend, or not the weekend, the holiday today, which is Halloween. Enjoy it if you guys are going to celebrate or have fun. If not, it's completely all right. And just take care, guys. I'll see you guys very soon for the final video of the day. Thanks again, and peace out.